How many decisions have you made so far today? What to wear, what to eat for breakfast, what task to start first, whether to check that notification. Every single one of those choices, no matter how small, drains a little bit of precious, finite resource, your focused willpower. Now imagine if the right choice wasn't a choice you had to make at all. Imagine if your surroundings quietly guided you towards your goals before your conscious mind even got involved. If your space made focus easy and distraction difficult. If your phone nudged you towards health and your home calmed your nervous system. This isn't science fiction, it's cognitive science. And it means that your number one tool for change isn't more discipline, it's better design. Welcome back to the Student of Life podcast. I'm your host, Olivia Vasilev. This season, we've built a powerful outer toolkit. We have systems for learning, connecting, managing money, and acquiring skills at speed. But all of those systems exist within a context, your physical and digital world. If that world is working against you, you're swimming upstream. Today, we learn to change the current. We stop fighting our environment and start engineering it. This is curating your environment for success, the neuroscience of designing your world. Let's start with a fundamental, research-backed truth. Willpower is a limited biological resource. Psychologist Roy Baumeister's seminal work on ego depletion demonstrated that acts of self-control and decision-making drew from a shared pool of mental energy in the prefrontal cortex. Make too many decisions, resist too many temptations, and that resource depletes. You experience decision fatigue. Your brain starts looking for shortcuts, which usually means falling back on default, often unhelpful behaviors. This is why you can have a perfectly productive morning and then by 4 p.m. find yourself scrolling mindlessly or eating the office snacks you swore you'd avoid. Your prefrontal cortex is tired, it's gone offline. But your environment, it works 24/7 and it operates on a different, more powerful system, your automatic subconscious brain. Your environment speaks directly to your limbic system, your basal ganglia, your sensory cortices, the parts of your brain that run on autopilot, that crave patterns and that react to cues before your conscious mind is even aware of them. The goal, therefore, is not to strengthen your willpower muscle to fight a bad environment. The goal, therefore, is not to strengthen your willpower muscle to fight a bad environment. The goal is to design an environment that recruits your automatic brain as an ally. We move from conscious effort, which is metabolically costly and unreliable, to pre-conscious design, which is effortless and always on. This is captured perfectly in the Fogg Behavior Model, developed by Stanford behavior scientist B.J. Fogg. He states that behavior happens when motivation, ability, and a prompt converge at the same point. We think motivation is the key, but motivation is the most volatile element. The genius of environmental design is that it focuses on the other two. It radically increases your ability to do the right thing by making it easier, and it strategically places prompts, cues, for the behaviors you want. You are engineering the map so that the path of least resistance leads exactly where you want to go. And for neurodivergent thinkers, this is often not a strategy, but a fundamental necessity. A carefully curated environment can regulate sensory input, reduce cognitive load, and provide the external structure that supports executive function. It can turn an overwhelming world into a navigable one, allowing unique cognitive strengths to shine without being drained by constant environmental friction. So how do we engineer this? Let's break it down into two realms, your physical space and your digital space. First, your physical space. We'll focus on three brain states: focus, restoration, and calm. To design for focus, you must understand attentional capture. Your visual cortex is wired to notice novelty and movement. A cluttered desk, a flashing light, an open door. These are all attentional magnets that constantly pull activity into your default mode network, the brain's background noise generator. Research from the Princeton Neuroscience Institute shows that physical clutter competes for your attentional resources, reducing your ability to focus. The fix is what I call visual silence. Create a dedicated, clean work zone. The only things in your immediate sight line should be the tools for your current task. This reduces prediction error for your brain, allowing your prefrontal cortex to stay locked on the target. To design for restoration, we turn to attention restoration theory developed by psychologists Stephen and Rachel Kaplan. They found that natural environments or spaces with soft fascinations like a fire or flowing water engage our attention in a gentle, effortless way. This allows the prefrontal cortex, fatigue from directed focus, to recover. You can bring these indoors, place a green plant in your line of sight, use a desk lamp with warm, not harsh blue light. Even having a window view or a picture of a natural scene can provide micro restorations throughout the day, lowering cortisol. To design for calm, you must speak to your amygdala, your threat detector. Chaos and unresolved items signal unfinished business, which the amygdala reads as potential threat. Neuroscientist David Rock's brain-based model emphasizes the brain's need for certainty. A clear, organized space provides that certainty. Implement a simple rule. Every item has a home. This isn't about being tidy for its own sake. It's about telling your amygdala the environment is predictable. You are safe. This reduces low-grade anxiety and frees up cognitive resources. Now, let's talk about your digital environment. This is where we hack the dopamine-driven feedback loops that are often used against us. Your phone's home screen is prime cognitive real estate. It is a cue landscape. Right now, it's likely filled with apps that are prompts for distraction. Social media, news, games. Each icon is a visual cue that triggers a latent craving. Here is the radical redesign. Your home screen should contain only tools for intentional action. Your calendar, your notes app, your medication timer, your podcast player. Move all social media and entertainment apps off the home screen into a folder on a second or third page. This tiny bit of friction, requiring 2 extra taps, exploits the principle of ability from the Fogg model. You make the distraction slightly harder to access, which is often enough to let your prefrontal cortex catch up and choose intentionality. Next, notifications. Every ping, buzz, and badge is a cognitive interruption. In a study from the University of California, Irvine found that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to return to a focused state after an interruption. You are not being notified, you are being hijacked. The fix is nuclear. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Not just sound, but visual badges. Allow only notifications from human beings who might need you urgently. Reclaim your brain's right to uninterrupted cycles of thought. Finally, design for single-purpose clarity. Your brain is a terrible multitasker. Use technology to enforce single tasking. Use a browser extension to allow only one tab. Use full screen mode for writing. Create different user profiles on your computer, one for work with a minimalist desktop and one for leisure. You are creating context-dependent cues that tell your brain this space is for this mode. Curating your environment is not a one-time tidying spree. It's an ongoing practice for becoming the designer of your own sensory and cognitive input. Start with one tiny, high-leverage change. Maybe it's clearing your physical desktop before you finish work. So you start tomorrow with visual silence. Maybe it's spending 10 minutes ruthlessly pruning your phone's home screen and notification. Observe the effect. Do you feel less resistance starting work? Do you feel yourself reaching for your phone less? That feeling is your prefrontal cortex thanking you for the gift of cognitive ease. You are reducing the number of decisions it has to make, preserving that precious resource for the deep, creative, and meaningful work that only it can do. You are moving from a life of constant reaction to a life of intentional design. You are not just living in your environment, you are programming it. And in doing so, you are programming your own brain states, your habits, and ultimately your outcomes. When you curate your environments for success, you are doing more than organizing furniture and apps. You are engaging in a profound act of self-respect. You are acknowledging the reality of your biological brain and building a world that supports its flourishing rather than fighting against its limits. You now have a complete ecosystem for outer success. Systems for learning, asking, connecting, securing, building, sprinting, and now an environment to house it all. But what is the ultimate goal of all these tools? Is it just to be more productive? I would argue it's something deeper. It's to build a life of integrated passions, where your work, your hobbies, and your values don't have to exist in separate boxes. That brings us to our next frontier. Next week, we explore a modern model for a multifaceted life. We're diving into the portfolio of life, designing a life of many passions. How to build a career and identity not around one single title, but around a dynamic portfolio of your skills, projects, and interests, leading to greater resilience, creativity, and fulfillment. But this week, your mission is to be a cognitive architect. Choose one space, your desk, your phone, or one corner of your home, and redesign it, just a little, to make one good behavior easier and one unhelpful distraction harder. Feel the shift in your own mind. And of course, remember, never stop learning. I'm your host, Olivia Vasilev, and this is the Student of Life podcast.